to the boys, Fox and Shane. Set your minds free, no locks and chains. Do what you love, roll the dice. 50-50, we cold as ice. One thing cold, but a penny turn red. Can't let that trade game in my hand, war gaming.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to Hobby Homies. We are your weekly tabletop podcast. I am Shane. As always, I'm hanging out with Fox.
Ohayou gozaimasu.
And Churchy, out of the void.
I've escaped for now.
You've got inputs this time. We've paid him for speaking lines.
We have.
Thank you to our patrons.
Giving him that role. Yes, thank you, patrons. So today we are talking about a board game, Spirit Island.
That is true. Spirit Island is a board game.
It is a board game. It's a good board game.
One we've actually talked about here and there multiple times. In fact, we may have even talked about it extensively on one half of a board game episode at one point.
Probably very early on, maybe in season 2.
Yeah, possibly.
So it's time for a recap.
Because we've forgotten. So
we can't remember.
yeah.
Like nearly 200 episodes, so...
Yeah, that's
Killing
true.
it.
We have over 200 videos. You're
Ooh,
right. Yeah. I get videos and episodes confused. Not all episodes are videos, but all videos are episodes.
Maybe.
That was right. That was actually right.
Sure.
So Spirit Island is a fantastic board game that we have
great
played
board game.
a few times.
Yep.
In fact, we played it a few times. You loved it so much you went and bought your own copy.
It took me a long time. I've been eyeing it off for ages.
Yep.
I think the $150 price tag was a little bit of a deterrent.
Wow. Is it that expensive?
That's what I paid. Maybe. I hope it is. I mean, like...
Oh, yeah,
I
dude. No, you got it on sale. It's a good bargain. I think it's normally like $300 or something. Really good. You didn't get ripped off.
I've been eyeing it off for ages, and then, I'm like, well, Fox has got it. I'll just play it, when he's got it. And then sooner or later, I was like...
But I want it.
But I want to play it.
Yeah.
So, got it.
That's sick. So it is a solo and or cooperative, well, probably not and, solo or cooperative
Yeah.
board game.
Yep.
It's super unique in its theme and its play style. It's really cool.
I love, I've explained it to a couple of people now that are familiar with board games, and I like to explain it as it's like Settlers of Catan, except you're trying to kill the settlers.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
They're settling on you. You are
You are the
Catan.
island. Yeah. So you're not getting sheep and wood.
No.
You are trying to stop the players.
You don't get the wood, you win the game.
No.
It's different.
Indeed.
So, yeah, you're correct. It's really cool because the very first thing you do, unsurprisingly, is pick your player board, which is a spirit.
Yes. Yeah.
And these spirits have a myriad of different powers and play styles. And then you'll use that spirit's powers, play styles, presence, which we'll go into in a sec, to drive off the invaders of this island board that you create based on how many players there are.
Yeah.
So if there's 2 players, you have 2 island boards pushed together to make a big island. We played 3 players with Churchy.
Yeah.
So we added a 3rd board to make this really circular island, which was really cool. And then you use your powers as the spirits that we were working together to try and kill all the invaders.
Yeah.
And that's how you win the game.
That's how you win the game. Kill the invaders. As easy as that.
It's simple. Simple.
You've played quite a few times now, right?
I have.
We've played a few times together, but maybe only 3 times at the most.
I would say about 3 times.
How many times do you reckon you've played it? Because you've even been
15?
solo, haven't you?
Yeah. Yeah, so I probably played about 10 solo games.
Far out.
And then 5 cooperative games.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yep.
The solo game really had me hooked originally. I wanted to beat it.
Yeah.
And the great thing about Spirit Island is it's got a way to play it, but it's already got 2 or I think a 3rd expansion coming.
Oh, yeah, right.
And
Far out.
some of those expansions add different modules that you can add to the game to either increase, decrease the difficulty, or just add random elements.
Yep.
There's an event deck that came out in the 2nd expansion, and the event deck just keeps things it just keeps you on your toes.
What kind of events does it do? Like weather and stuff like that?
It's been so long I can't remember. If I were to liken it to something our listeners may be familiar with, I would say it's like the battle events that happen at the ends of turn 2 and 4 on a 5 parsecs from home campaign.
Yeah.
Just
a bit spicy.
It just spices things up.
Yeah.
It could be good, could be sometimes good, sometimes bad. No one doesn't know. 50-50. So that's how I remember it. I remember it actually being both sometimes. Something for them, something for you, and then bad sometimes for both. So
right.
It was always, I always chose to play with it because it was much more interesting.
Yeah.
Added some flavor. And I think, and there's also like, although there's the invaders, even in the base set, there's a way to, you get like invader cards. You can say, well, these invaders are Sweden, or France,
or the English,
and
English invading everywhere.
It's also got different levels. So you pick which
like
level.
AI levels.
Correct. Yeah,
that's cool.
And it gets progressively more difficult the higher you went up. So that's what I did. I played with a few of the boards and just worked my way up until I could just confidently destroy the board every time.
Nice.
Which was great. But I think they've since, with the newest expansion, made that a bit more difficult, which is also great.
Did you find a way, like, once you beat it once, were you beating it every time? Or was there still outliers in there when the board would beat you?
Yeah, if I recall, I got smashed the first 2 times by myself.
Yeah.
The third time was close. And then it didn't... if I recall, that was years ago.
Yeah.
When I was doing this, because prior to COVID, in fact.
Yeah, right.
Prior to the podcast, potentially.
Yeah, true.
I think so.
Yeah.
And I was, if I recall, I remember getting to a point where I felt like nothing I could do would turn the difficulty up enough that I couldn't beat it.
Okay.
And it kind of got to that point where, and that's when I sort of put it away and didn't play it again.
Yeah.
Now I play with other people cooperatively.
Yeah.
Because the hard thing is getting over their dumb moves, their suboptimal moves. No, it's not that at all. It's that when you've got one board, it's so easy to control.
Yeah.
It's all there for you. But if you've got 3 boards, it's really hard to defend over in Churchy's corner.
Yeah.
And he might not be able to do that, but he can defend your corner. So it's this really cool collaborative issue.
Yeah. It's really interesting because when we set up, I asked, I can't remember what I asked you, but it was like, how do we do this? And you're like, if you only look after your board, we're going to lose.
Yeah, for sure.
We've got to look, everyone's got to look after everything, which is awesome. Like, that's how a cooperative game should be. It shouldn't just be like, I'm doing my thing, you're doing your thing, and Churchy's doing his thing. Like, we're all spirits of this island,
correct,
working together as a team.
Yeah, and all the spirits are different parts of the island, so it makes sense that you wouldn't just be locked in a corner.
Yep.
But rather, be responsible for stewardship of this whole island.
Yep.
And you're right. It is like it's a good solo game, but it's a phenomenal co-op game.
Yeah.
And I would encourage people to play it solo if they're like, oh, should I get it just as a solo game? Yeah, it's great. It's good. Yeah. It's good. The first few times you play, the first 5 times, it's great. It's interesting. It's enticing.
Yeah.
But after that, it's still a good game. But it lacks challenge. Not because I'm good at it at all. You just sort of figure it out.
Yeah.
You figure out how to manage your island. Having said that, I never did the one thing people said to do.
Yeah.
And that was play as like 2 spirits.
Oh,
and then play as 3 spirits. And try and manage all of that.
3 boards?
3 boards. Yeah. Because just by then I thought the footprint and the time
and like the bookkeeping, like just everything you're doing, like.
So I was a master of 1 spirit, 1 board, but beyond that, that would have made it much more interesting, I think, but difficult. So yeah. So I played as a fear-based spirit.
You did, yeah.
And my spirit, their whole mantra was like instilling fear into the invaders.
Yeah.
And fear in this game is a resource.
Oh, yeah. Very, very valuable resource too.
For sure. You get it every time you kill something because that scares the invaders.
Yep.
You can get it by doing powers. And the more fear you get, you cycle down the fear deck, which is kind of a measurement of how scared the invaders are overall.
Yeah.
Which is really cool theme-wise.
If that deck gets to 0...
Yeah.
They skedaddle.
Which is
back in the boats and then off to where they came from.
Basically, once you get to the bottom of the fear deck. Oh, no, you're right. Yeah, instant win.
Victory if this is revealed or something.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. Which I actually never knew because I've never been to the bottom of the fear deck. And you were just like, well, it says it right there. It's like, you know what? That makes sense.
Big, bold, capital letters, victory.
I've never seen under there. I always put the fear deck on there. never see the bottom of it. So that was really cool. And what was your spirit?
The trees. Was it rampant green or something like that?
That's right. Yeah.
Which was really cool. Like I had some awesome like fast. Well, I guess we'll explain the fast and slow actions later, but like some really cool actions that would happen in the fast phase.
Yeah.
But then there's even better ones that happen in the slow phase.
Yeah.
And like so it could do serious damage, kill cities in one activation.
And what was were you a defensive?
Primarily,
I can't remember. One of you
I think
attack.
defensive.
Or you meant defensive and control.
Yeah.
And Churchy.
And I was sort of like a water spirit. I was like a
Sure.
the sort of oceany coastal spirit, I think.
Yep.
Was it River Surge or something like that?
Could have been, yeah. Like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I was basically able to like push people around and
That's right.
there's a lot of like pushing and
displacing
and moving the little
Dahan.
the Dahan, moving those around a bit and stuff like that. So,
yeah, that's right. Okay, so I think Shane was more attack and you were defense and control. I think that's what we sort of leveled it out because it's always good when you first play, you can get absolutely curb stomped by the thing.
Yeah.
Unless the one tweak to your advantage is if you sort of level out the abilities of the spirits.
Yeah, yeah.
And they tell you on the back of the
Yeah, I was gonna say I feel like Shane was really good at like stopping their attacks with that. He had that thing where he had the
holy, like the what is it called?
the holy side or whatever it was. Or
Yeah, when you got two presents in the one thing, I forget.
Yeah, I could just kill one of those presents and it would stop them from ravaging.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very cool.
I was decent at attacking if it was from like the coast because I had that
Sure.
that I kept recycling basically to let me do like 2 damage or whatever.
Yeah,
Attack.
cool. Yeah, it's very cool. Like the game has done such an incredible job of balancing all these different mechanics, and its mechanics on its own are incredible.
Yeah.
But then it also balances those with the theme of the game itself and the theme of your individual spirit.
Yeah, yeah.
Like Churchy's ability to displace people because he is the surging rivers and can flood certain lands and push people out of there and move the Dahan around as they have to move. Also, the Dahan, we'll mention a couple times, is like the local natives.
The natives of the island, yeah.
But they're quite in touch with the spirits of the island.
Yep.
So they're sort of our allies.
Which is really really cool because there's so much lore of this game. Like, there's been 2 wars with the Dahan versus the spirits.
Yeah.
And then this is like the 3rd, I guess, when they're finally like, okay, we're living here with the spirits, not trying to like control them.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that you can control the Dahan as the spirits.
Yeah, you can push and pull them. Well, like it's like you don't directly control them, but it's like they're so in tune with the spirits of the island.
They just know what to do.
You can sort of persuade them and push and pull them and use them. And when the invaders attack, they attack the Dahan first, of course. When you go to a place, you fight off all the locals first.
Yep.
And so we kind of use them to do our bidding, so to speak, against their will, but also it's in their best interests. So it's very cool.
It's interesting the way that the game plays through different phases, like each round. So at the start of the game, you know, you're revealing this, is it the Explore deck? I can't remember what it was called.
Yeah.
And then like they would explore in one region first, which is when they just place their little individual guys, their in explorers.
Yeah.
And then they build.
Yeah.
And they finally ravage.
Yeah.
They ravage these lands, and they and that's when they would cause damage to the island, and then sooner or later would blight the island.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very cool system because you've got your invader deck there, and then like you said, it's like 3 slots.
Yep.
And in order it goes explore, build, ravage, did you say? Yeah, it's ravage.
Yeah.
But you can see those at all times, so you know when these invader decks flip over, it's got a type of location.
Yep.
Because the board is split up into these locations.
Wetlands, deserts, mountains, forests.
Yeah. And so if you flip over a forest, first it goes into the explore slot. And you know, okay, on this turn, when they have their invader step, they're going to be exploring on the forests.
Yeah, so they place all their little explorer. There's 3 little tokens, explorers, towns, and cities.
Yep.
I think, So you're placing all those, and they build. and then
that's right. And so then at the end of that, you move that forest from explore across to build.
Yeah.
And then you flip a new card over, and that goes into explore.
Yeah.
So now they're exploring in the sandlands and building in the jungles.
Yeah.
And then finally you shift it along, and it might be they're exploring in the wetlands, building in the jungles, building in the sands, and ravaging the jungles.
Yeah, yeah.
And so you can see what's coming and prepare. And that's the whole part of the game, is we working together to try and mitigate the ravage that they're about to do. But also, can we prevent, if they're building in jungles on this turn, for example, we know next turn they're going to be ravaging jungles.
So you can think that one step ahead.
You can try.
Yeah.
You can try.
And it's always constantly changing too. Like, you might fail the ravage in the jungles, but you've prepared, everything to stop them from ravaging next turn.
Yeah.
In the mountains.
It's a game of risk analysis and risk mitigation.
Yeah, yeah.
And you're just constantly trying to go, okay, I could spend all these resources stopping the ravage now, or like you said, maybe we let that go through. We take the one blight, not ideal, but we can then prepare for this, and these 3 lands next turn.
Yeah.
And so you're weighing up all these choices, but you've got 3 different boards, so many different things happening, 3 different spirits with 3 different intentions and ideas.
Yeah.
And working together is, you've got the Dahan and all, you're weighing up all these things. It's very cool because there's so much going on.
Yeah, I really liked how towards the end we'd actually, with a bit of luck as well, like I feel like we did get quite lucky with our playthrough, but
we did, yeah.
I liked how we were almost getting to a point where we were maybe like nearly 2 steps ahead.
Yeah.
We were getting very close to that point because it was sort of like, all right, so we've, and again, that was because we'd luck out and we'd have like, one of us would have a card that actually let us deal with like 2 or 3 squares.
Yeah.
But then that meant that the next person could be like, all right, well, they're going to build there next. So what I'll do is I'll bring this Dahan over here.
Yeah.
So that'll stop that square from being an issue next time. And then I can also do this, which will stop that. So then, so that was, I really liked that aspect of it.
It is very cool. Especially like you guys, I remember the game, and you did mention we kind of got lucky. There was a part where you're supposed to sort of get an even mix when those invader cards come out of jungle, sands, mountains, and wetlands.
The whole game we didn't get any mountains.
We didn't get any mountains. There was one for like the second last turn on the invader deck, but we didn't get there.
Yeah.
And because of that, it meant that it was one less spot fire we never had to worry about.
Yeah.
So we just had to focus on 3 types of land,
Yep.
which is actually a real big advantage. And you guys had that so under control that I was able to just rack up fear, and we were stacking the fear deck.
Yeah.
And the fear deck, every time we get a fear card by generating enough fear, in the fear step, it gives us a big benefit.
Yeah.
And so sometimes we would get to the fear step and have 2 of these cards, and it was like, wow, it's doing the defense for us.
Yep.
And my guy could let us, my spirit could let us look at these cards face up.
Yep.
So we knew, we're about to get that and that, so we don't have to defend that, and that. And then we're also not defending mountains, and we're just snowballing.
Yeah.
I feel like we definitely, with the mountains, we definitely were relying on the fact that they just weren't appearing, because there were so many times where we had like a settler and a town and a city, and then like I think at one point towards the end there was one mountain square that had like 2 cities and a town and a settler, and
we were just, when you're forced to choose to push things, you go, well, let's push them where we know we're going to not have to defend for the longest.
The mountains.
And so we were just the whole game pushing things into the mountains.
We didn't really know until the end that we didn't get mountains, but
correct.
Like, we had sort of picked up that like we weren't getting them, and like they weren't on the fear, they weren't on the explore build ravage, whatever you call it.
The invader track or whatever it is.
The track, like we're not seeing it, so it's like, all right, well, if we put it to mountains, worst case, it's 4 turns away. We'll worry about it later.
Yeah, exactly.
So
the mountains never came.
No, they never came.
I like the idea thematically too that we've driven all the invaders to the mountains because we were taking back the lands.
Yeah, the rivers and the wetlands and everything was killing them.
Yeah.
The mountains seem safe. The caves.
Where there's no water, sunshine, grass, or fear. No, there is fear. Fear finds us all.
It was it did. Absolutely. It was amazing to see, like, all the things you would generating like the fear. Like you use these little tokens and you place them in the fear pool.
Yeah.
And then once that reaches 15 or gets full or whatever,
Yeah.
then the card would flip. But like one turn, you're like, all right, there's just 10 of those in there.
Yeah, yeah.
and then like next thing, you're like, there's the last 5.
Yeah.
And then like push them all back off the board again. And then like sometimes you were carrying them over.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
you'd do 8 and you'd like put 3 in there. All right, that does that. Then put the remaining 5 in there.
And we still didn't get to the end of the fear deck.
No.
So I'm still convinced it can't be done, but who knows? Maybe with a few of us playing fear spirits.
Yeah.
And that's the great thing about the state of the game as it is now. Like I think the base game is such good value. I forgot how many spirits come in that box.
How many was it? 6? Or
I
8?
thought it was 8 to 10.
Maybe it's 8.
Yeah,
Might be
possibly 8.
Yeah.
Which is-
because it's like 2 of each difficulty,
Yeah, okay. Possibly.
maybe, or 4 of. I can't remember.
Yeah, it might be 4, 2, and 2 or something.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah.
it might even be 2 of each element, roughly,
Yeah.
or play style. And regardless, there was 8, which I originally thought there was only like 4 base ones.
Yeah.
But now, because I've got all the current expansions, I think I got like 16,
Far out.
maybe more.
That is a lot of spirits.
It's great because like this, you could shuffle it up, give people random ones,
Yep.
and the game is just so different every time.
Are there any awful spirits? Like some of them which you would just like, you just burn the board?
Yeah, I wouldn't say awful. I think they balance the spirits really well.
Okay.
And they do that because it's all about the power cards.
Yep.
And everyone has the same power cards.
Yeah.
So it's just
true.
about you sort of picking the power cards that suit your spirit the best.
Yeah.
And because players choose to do that, I think all the spirits are really balanced.
Yeah.
But there are some spirits that once you play 3 or 4 times, you would rather just like hit your head against a brick wall than play them
Play that spirit
because they're
again.
real boring.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like on your turn in what's called the growth step, which is sort of your resource management collection step.
Yep.
You can choose a myriad of things you can do, and it's sort of sectioned off. So it's like, hey, you can choose to do this growth step,
Yep.
which is say draw a power card and add a presence, and then there might be 2 or 3 others. Some of the real basic ones are like in this growth, draw a card, and then choose another growth, and the other growth is like spread a presence.
Okay.
You're like, okay, cool. Sweet.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
your power is like, if you've got green elements, which we won't go into, elements is a whole nother cool mechanic. If you've got a green element, do a damage. If you've got 2, do 2 damage. And it's just like,
Yeah.
where's the flavor?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
you get some, like you can still play it and be like, yeah, this is kind of fun, but I want the challenging ones that have so many different options, and
Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts in some of those complicated elements,
Yeah.
spirits by the look of them.
Yeah.
Like I think both Church and I played it pretty. I think like they have got difficulty levels on
Yep.
the back. I think we both played pretty low difficulty ones, which is obviously good for new players.
definitely, yeah.
Be interesting to see some of the difficult ones.
Yeah, and some of the low ones, like Churchy's spirit, I think in particular, some of the low difficulty ones are still super interesting.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But some of them are really, really boring.
Yeah,
But yeah, you'd be surprised. Although I think the low difficulty ones are more about like, hey, get your Monopoly friend to play this game and give him that one.
Yeah,
But for
yeah.
you two guys, I would probably just recommend picking a spirit that's really cool, because you will pick up, 2 turns in, you'll understand your spirit board
Yeah,
and how
yeah.
it works, regardless of if it's low or high difficulty.
Yeah.
Because you've played board games, strategic board games. Like the concepts are just, once you learn what they do, you get it.
yeah.
But there are some in the expansions that start using tokens and things like that are more difficult. But again, I would just, if you've played many games,
Many games. Yep.
when few game do the trick. If you've played many, strategy games that are quite weighty,
Yeah.
I would ignore difficulty on Spirit Island.
Yeah.
And just go for it. You'll figure it out.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love the idea of a cooperative game that doesn't have like a secret winner, or doesn't have each
Yeah.
player still striving for their own particular victory condition.
Yeah.
Like we all win together, we all lose together
That's
when it
it.
comes to Spirit Island.
Yeah.
It's not like, yes, but I won because I managed to
Yeah.
get, this, that, the other, or whatever like that.
I
It's like,
sneakily done this. Yeah.
yeah.
It is pure co-op.
Yeah.
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 You have to work together to win that game. And
Yeah.
like you said, that's the best part about it, I think, is that you all win, you all lose.
Yeah.
And you're all so different in your own play styles, the way you play games, and the spirits. And there are so many different mechanics to Spirit Island.
Yeah.
And you can focus around so many of them. Like there is, when you use these minor powers, it generates elements that allow you to use passive abilities. You mentioned there's abilities that happen in the slow phase, then the invaders have their turn. Fast phase.
Yep.
Then the invaders have their turn. Then it's a slow phase, and your slow powers happen then.
Yeah.
Slow powers are better, but they happen after the invaders. There's just so
too late.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then there's the fear deck, and then there's defending your friends and having presence everywhere that you need in different lands, and the range of abilities. It's just, there's a lot going on. It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
My only qualm with Spirit Island has been the same thing I discovered on my 5th game, and I still see it to this day.
Yeah.
And this is the only bad side. So this is the only thing I don't like.
Okay.
Is that when you win the game, you win the game 3 turns before you win the game. Or 3 steps before you win the game.
Yeah.
And everyone knows it.
Yeah.
Or when you lose the game, it's the same.
Yeah.
So there's kind of this lull for, I would say, maybe the last turn where you're just playing it out for the sake of it.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what you're doing.
The clutch moment, the really exciting moment, the turning tide happens before the game ends.
Yeah, almost like in the fast phase, right?
Yeah.
Before the invaders do their thing.
For sure.
So then you still have to do all that paperwork there. And
then technically it might not be that you kill the city to the next turn, but you all know there's 2 cities, and all of us can do 10 damage each. So let's go through the slow phase, let's draw the cards, let's do our growth, and then let's play the card that wins the game.
Yeah.
That we all knew was going to happen a turn ago.
Yeah.
And that's my only problem with Spirit Island. They can't build it any differently, really.
No.
And it doesn't take away that it still has that build up, and there's sometimes that turning tide against you as well.
Yeah.
And the excitement happens, but then it's like, okay, cool, the game's done, but technically let's just finish it off.
Yeah.
And that happened to us as well. So
Yeah.
there was 14 different ways we could have won that last one, and we were just picking one.
We killed it.
Yeah, we did. We did kill it, yeah.
Well, we didn't get any blight at all.
Not a singular blight, and that is a crushing.
We managed to stop them from ravaging every time.
Yeah, which is really good mostly because of your ability. Actually, that helped us so much.
A couple of rounds too where your fear stuff came in clutch as well.
The fear cards. Yeah,
hell yeah.
Being
able to that fear card where it's like each player gets to kill an explorer.
Yeah,
it's like 6. They can't build if there's no explorers there.
Yeah,
done. That just cuts it off at the head there.
Yep, so many different ways to try and plan and win, and then I love this game because it constantly punches you in the mouth, even though it's so scripted. You know what's coming out. Yeah, but it still manages to go, oh, far out. I didn't realize it would be a city in that square.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
And 2 things I do want to quickly mention.
Yeah.
One, to bring it back what Shane was saying earlier about it being purely co-op and stuff. I think it was interesting because I feel like even in the first maybe 1 or 2 turns, we were still almost in that mode where we were just looking at our own part of the island and just trying to deal with that. And then it was kind of like, hang on, wait a minute. Oh, I can help you do this. And I can help you do that.
Yeah.
And to what you were talking about, Fox, at the end where you sort of know you've won. I think for me, for that being my first time ever playing, I sort of knew, but I still was like, hey, I think I can do this. And then we win, but you already knew we've won.
Yeah.
I remember you sort of saying so, but can you make 4 fear or whatever this turn? I was like, we've won. So I think that's still fairly exciting for a first time player. So maybe
for sure.
It's just because the more you've played, obviously, you see the steps coming before they're there.
And you understand the win conditions, and it's constantly in your mind when you play turns. So I'd say the first few games you aren't robbed of that cool the end of the game is the end of the game. Whereas once you play a few times you're a little bit, the end of the game just happens a little at the climax of the story as opposed to the resolution, if that makes sense. So, which is fine. That's my only complaint on an otherwise incredible game.
Absolutely, hell yeah.
I couldn't recommend this enough. Co-op, play it with your misso, play it with your partner, play it with your kids, give them the low spirits. They'll figure it out. Play for them.
I haven't played with Caitlin yet. We were going to play the other night we had a little board game night
Yeah.
with Kate from Binge Worthy Breakdown.
Awesome.
And her husband Sam, but we ended up going with Dominion instead.
Okay. Well, that's a great gateway game.
It is a good
because
game,
there's a lot of different moving parts and comboing stuff.
Yeah, I think Spirit Island will be next.
It has to be. Dude.
Yeah.
More people need to know about Spirit Island.
It's a good game.
Yeah.
It is a great game.
Yeah.
And the replayability is phenomenal. Like the next time we play, we'll pick new spirits.
Yeah.
And we'll add the event deck. I'll bring it over.
Yep.
And we don't even have to play the expansion. That base game has so much replayability in itself. Even with the AI. Let's turn it up to level 3. We'll start there because that adds new things. Every time you flip over a card and it has a little icon on it.
Yep.
For those who at home are like, what card, what icon? Just play Spirit Island, you'll know.
Yeah, you know.
Then that triggers their special ability, which may be an extra build.
I wondered what that was. And
Yeah.
You're like, ignore that.
Yeah.
Like, but there's a little house on there with a flag.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about the flag. That's for future us.
Yeah.
So the next time we play, I hope you guys, I would say we play it on easy mode. Easy mode.
What did we play it on?
No, I'd say we played it on easy
Oh,
mode.
we did. Oh, okay.
We'll turn it up to normal.
Yeah.
Oh, man, the pressure.
Okay.
Like, you're getting blighted all the time.
Far out.
And the card is going to flip. You're going to have a blighted island for half the game.
Yeah.
And so where we were just like sort of walking around to the ship putting buckets under the thing,
Yeah.
our ship's going to blow up next time. And we're just going to be swimming around trying to hold on to pieces of wood.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's amazing.
Okay.
So
That'll be pretty interesting because I feel like even though we had it under control,
Yeah.
we're still on that cusp so many times
Yes.
of just completely losing it.
yeah, it feels like you're on a, what is it called? A knife's edge?
Yeah.
Or razor's edge. Yeah. But compared to where the game's about to go next time we play, you'll realize you're on a dessert spoon. Just living life up. Like, we didn't even get a blight. We were just worried about getting a single blight.
True,
Next game we're like, well, we're going to get blighted, but
Yeah.
where?
We were more worried about losing presents.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's going to be awesome.
I like your analogy though. Like, there's no, what is it? It's not a sinking ship if there's no ship left to sink.
Yeah,
It's just
exactly.
like,
Yeah, that's it. We're going to be embracing the ocean
Yeah.
next game for
Yeah.
sure. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait.
Cool. Looking forward to it. So the event deck, was that an expansion or was that just like?
Yeah. I didn't see it in yours, so it must be. I get confused because I
Yeah.
boxed it all together. I think it is
yeah.
an expansion. It's just an optional extra. They've got a few modules that you can kind of add on
Yeah.
if you want to.
Kind of like little things that like obviously not a full blown expansion, like a little smaller.
It came in a full blown expansion.
fair income.
Yeah, and it was
Oh,
like, here's
right.
the event deck if you want to use it for your games now.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
The next one is Branch and Claw.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which brings in sort of like the animals of the island and the forests of the island.
Okay.
Really cool.
Yeah.
Really bloody cool. It's this lass that uses the Dahan. She's like a representative spirit
Oh,
for the Dahan.
sweet.
They like her. She's the person that they speak to speak to us. Really
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Really bloody cool. So
Sweet.
Spirit Island, 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
Smack that game.
That's
yeah.
a big. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, sorry, 9.8 out of 10.
Yeah. That's fair.
The 0.2 is because of the early climax, which I'm told is not important, but to me, I feel like it is.
Very important.
Yeah.
You know what you know.
You know what you know. So thank you for tuning in to Spirit Island. Another board game episode. If you like this and other board game episodes, let us know so that we can keep doing them.
Yeah.
It inspires us. We go, oh, people don't like it. Stuff them.
We like it.
We like it. We'll talk about it less.
We've
but yeah.
done. Was it just 1 or 2 board game playthroughs now? I think maybe Spirit Island could probably
For sure.
earn one.
Let's play 2 more times. Get the rules down.
Yep.
And we'll come in hot. We'll come in hot.
True.
I like them too because I get to escape the void and play board games
Yep.
sometimes with the boys. So
Board games with.
It's pretty good.
You got
The
12
boys.
more lines on your contract. Is there anything else you'd like to say? 12 more words. And you just said so 11.
Oh no.
No.
Yeah,
9.
now.
Yeah. He's thinking about
Help
it.
me get out of the void, please. Help.
That's fair.
Well done, Churchy.
Yeah, we'll cut that out. No one's helping.
Churchy, edit it.
Yeah, can you edit that out, mate? Don't say anything.
Massive shout out to our patrons. Thank you guys so much for all your contributions throughout the years. We were just saying earlier that we have so many patrons from so long.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
it's
And
insane.
We are so humbled and so grateful for you. For as little as $2 a month, you can get early access to videos like these, roles, titles for your username in Discord.
Yep. Later tiers get gift packs and
discount codes for our merch store as well.
Sorry, resupply packs.
Yes.
And discounts. Yeah. And other cool stuff like automatic entries to all of our giveaways. Ever.
Hell yeah. True. Massive shout out to Burnsy, Whack, Fallen Dinosaur, MJ, Lethal Moose, Penny, Gridlock, Battle Maps Jack, and Test Dummy.
Welcome. Thank you. Thank you, Elko. Welcome, Churchy. Thanks, Rad, Ollie, Hockers, Aggro, Bravo14, and Big Roach. You're all amazing. Thank you so much. If you're listening and interested in anything that we do, all the links for all of our socials and everything, hobbyhomies.com. We've got a pumping Discord with a board games channel. Jump in there. Let us know about your Spirit Island adventures.
Hell yeah.
Like if you like, dislike if you dislike, subscribe if you're subscribed. If you're not subscribed,
well done.
Let us know in the comments what you think of board games in general.
Hey, bro.
Toodles.
Woo! Big up to the boys, Fox and Shane. Set your minds free, no locks and chains. Do what you love, roll the dice. 50-50, we cold as ice. One thing cold, but the penny turn red.